Welcome to the roller coaster ride of business with Hannah Edwards on Global Voice Radio. Hannah and her guests share the real deal, the ups and downs, the highs and lows of building a business. Here is your host, Hannah Edwards.
Hey guys, and welcome to the roller coaster ride of business on Global Voice Radio. I'm your host, Hannah Edwards, and today I am joined by Scott Davis. Thank you for joining me.
Sure, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So you are a digital media strategist.
Yes.
I always get really stuck on that, like on the strategist, as to whether I'm saying it right.
No, you said it perfectly.
So your company is Thrive Hive.
Yes.
And you do SEO, Google Ads. I am reading this off a list because there is so much that I can't remember.
There's just a short little piece, yes, but yeah, correct.
Google Ads, programmatic display, which I have no clue what that is. Mobile geofencing, again, I have no clue what that is. Connected TV, and then at the end it just says and more, because I'm sure you do. It's a very long list of what you do.
Oh yeah, yes.
So how did you decide to become, I love the phrase digital media strategist. I'm going to say that all the way through now.
Feel free, because I love it.
So how did you decide to become that?
Well, my first job out of college, actually just a little background about myself, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I joined the Marine Corps to pay for college, and this was in 1988. I'm in Chicago, and as soon as my dad said I'm not paying for school, the Marine Corps recruiter called, and I was obviously, I'm not joining. And quite frankly, it was the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Really?
I grew up mentally. Yes, I grew up mentally. My shoulder's actually on the cover of Time magazine from the February 1991 edition. I was in the first Gulf War, and got out, and then went to college. And I'm actually a marketing major. I have a marketing degree. A lot of folks that do just media sales in general, they don't have a marketing degree, which just blows my mind. A lot of psychology, which is very important.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I actually have a marketing degree. Got out, and this was in 1998. First job out of college was selling print yellow pages. I'm sure we remember what those things are.
We still have them over here. They're now not as thick.
Yeah, no, correct. They're like the size of a 10-page magazine. But obviously that was the media of choice. It was not as expensive as TV and radio was. So I was there for 10 years. And then the latter part of my Yellow Page career, I kept having, digital or, internet marketing folks calling on my print customers. And I had zero defense for that.
Oh.
So basically left there after a 10-year career to print Yellow Pages in October of 2008. And then since, it was actually a little before that, but since October 08, we'll say, I've been doing a full tilt, digital media.
Yeah.
Not just the ad buy, it's just, the strategy behind that. So we take a real, strong, holistic look at your business, do a quick, SWOT analysis. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And then come up with a solid digital media game plan and then stick to the plan. A lot of folks don't stick to the strategy. They go off strategy, which is all right, but we don't do that. And we make data-based decisions.
Fantastic. So tell me about Thrive Hive. First of all, how did you come up with that name?
Well, actually, I got recruited to come into Thrive Hive back in December of 2015 from my old job. It's always flattering when somebody wants you to come work for them.
Definitely.
Did my homework and, really liked what I saw. And initially, my firm, when I started, was called Propel, like the water, Propel Marketing.
Yeah.
And this was January of 16 when I started. In March of 2016, my firm, Propel Marketing, bought Thrive Hive, which is a SaaS, software as a service company. We're based out of Boston, Massachusetts, and basically adopted their name a year ago last month, and adopted their name, and then also have a lot more to offer because of their software as a service.
Yeah.
So also we are a Google Premier AdWords partner, which means there's only, I don't even know if there's 30 of them in the country.
Wow.
United States, that is. So there's a very small list. And a lot of that is because we have really good experience and have quite a few customers, running on Google Ads.
Yeah.
It used to be called Google AdWords. About a month ago, they changed it to Google Ads. I'm sure you saw.
Yeah.
And, because of the volume of clients that we work with and the way that we set up our campaigns, they perform at the highest, possible level. So not everyone can just call into Google and say, hey, we want to be a premier partner. There's obviously a vetting process.
Yeah.
and just to prove that you're as good as you say you are. So, yeah, very happy with my firm, and we pride ourselves on the transparency of what they want.
That's fantastic. So obviously this show is called The Roller Coaster Ride of Business, because when I was talking to Denise, who is our founder, say, of Global Voice Radio, we were trying to think of a name, and I was like, well, business is like a roller coaster. It's really hard. You start off like at the bottom, then you go all the way up, and then you drop down again. It's like, so you have all your highs and lows. So what has been your biggest high on your roller coaster journey?
Just watching someone grow their business from zero to 5 leads a week. There's actually the first client I signed up here at Thrive Hive is a personal dog trainer, and I treat you as a customer if you spend $50 a month or if you spend $10,000 a month. I treat that person the same.
Yeah.
And she basically had zero web presence, and now, like I said, her website's ranking all over the place. She's getting all kinds of good traction. I told her to have her clients write reviews about her.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few factors that go into, as far as why Google was going to show you and why they feel that you're relevant to be shown. So yeah, I would say that the biggest high that I've had is just watching people grow their business, whether from zero, to where they are now, or just improving upon what they had.
Okay. And obviously the opposite, what's been your worst part of your journey?
Yeah, let me think here. That's a really good question. I'm trying to think here. That's a real tough question. Obviously, you're going to have a stellar experience if you work with our firm. But my point is, man, let me think here.
It doesn't have to be with your firm. It can just be with your journey, like career-wise and everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. When you change jobs, you upgrade, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily for more money, but you just upgrade. And I've upgraded 3 times in the past 9 years because, the firms I was at, they were great, but I just felt my clients needed something more. And so I kept upgrading. I was only twice. So I guess the lows are not being able to do the best possible job I could do for my clients because of my limited, arsenal.
Yeah.
I would not always, but sometimes they would outsource, and I would recommend they use somebody else besides myself on certain things because my company couldn't fulfill that for them.
Yeah.
Yet there was a need. And I don't think a lot of folks do that. So obviously customer first mentality. And, so I would say that's one of the lows is not being able to do something for someone, after they ask me, can you do this? Like, no, I can't, but I can find someone that does. And so that's the reason why I've upgraded to be able to offer any possible thing.
So how many people do you have in your company? Is it just you or is it?
Oh, no. We have, we're a national firm. We're all throughout Canada, the United States. And then, we do have customers overseas too. So to answer your question, there's a bunch of different divisions as well. Yeah. So I'm guessing at least 2,000, folks.
That's fantastic. So throughout your journey, obviously, we've discussed your highs and your lows. Is this what you wanted to do, or is it something that you kind of just ended up in?
No, I've always wanted to do it. I mean, especially because of my marketing background. I love the consumer behavior aspect of things. Why did somebody call you? What caused them to call you, based off of what your ad read or the aesthetics of your ad. So I always knew I wanted to be in advertising. I'm perfectly honest with you. This is pre-Google, but when I started my Yellow Page career, my intent was to not leave, and I loved my job.
Yeah.
While helping people grow their business at that time with print Yellow Pages. And I thought I'd be there until I retire. Obviously, the internet came along. Sergey Brin and Larry Page, the founders of Google, came along and said, we have it. We can do it better. And so obviously people have shifted quite a bit from traditional media to digital. So I will always be in digital media in some way or fashion.
What's the worst mistake you've seen someone do?
Not following my directions.
Okay.
Because when I sign somebody up, you get me. It's not passed off to somebody else. Somebody else does help me with the order, but you always have me. So if I sign you up, it's me. It doesn't get transferred to somebody else. And I watch your campaign like a hawk. And with my previous companies, I'd have instructions, and then the person just didn't follow the instructions. No big deal, but it's always nice to set the campaign up right, meaning follow the instructions or follow the client's instructions. So other than that, I watch the campaign like a hawk, and I'm constantly checking it. It's not a set and forget it program. I run into a lot of folks that get signed up for an ad program, and then they don't hear from them again until it's time to renew. Frankly, I don't think that's how it works.
No.
I don't think that's how it should work. So you get constant, contact. We're paying attention, and we have your best interest in mind. Always trying to make tweaks to see if we can make it work better.
So when I was reading off a list of things of what you do, I'm just going to bring my notebook back here for this list. There were a couple on there that I said I had no clue what they were. So what is programmatic display?
That is it's a fancy term that's been around probably since 2013, late 2013, 2014. And that basically means that you're able to reach somebody anytime, anywhere, any device, anywhere in the world. Everybody looks differently, right? Somebody could be on, I'm trying to think, there's like 2 trillion websites or more that are out there, and somebody could find you on there. Obviously, Google's our primary focus as far as lead generation, but as far as a branding, lift or branding, program, the display, programmatic display, which just means probably about 7 or 8 different targeting tactics we use with that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mobile geofencing. That just sounds really fancy.
Yeah, it's great. And that's probably about 4 years old now, maybe 3 years old. Started with, I'm trying to think where it started, but bottom line is, I'm sure you have a phone. Every person that you know has a cell phone, and they spend X amount of time on that thing. Unfortunately, it's becoming very addicting, right? So you got to watch out with your little kids that are on it quite a bit, like super young.
It's in the news over here at the moment. The NHS have done this new thing where you can go to kind of like a rehab for addiction to your mobile phone, and the most people that they've had in there for their first program, say, are 12-year-olds.
Wow.
Parents are sending their 12-year-olds to rehab for being addicted to their cell phones, or as we call them, mobile phones.
Wow. Yeah. So basically, everyone's hooked on their phones, for business reasons or for personal reasons. And what mobile geofencing is you're allowed to target a certain area that you feel you could draw from. Like if you're a contractor and you want to target just a certain zip code, or even smaller than that, if you want to target, every person that walks into a home improvement store.
Okay.
You can put it's a figurative term, meaning, it's a digital fence that's around a home improvement store. So if I'm a contractor and I want to draw people that are going to the hardware store, I can show my ad inside that, inside the home improvement store. Yeah. We're able to capture the device ID, the advertising device ID, and then basically track when they saw your ad inside the hardware store, and then when they walked into your showroom, your kitchen and bath showroom.
Wow.
So everybody uses their phone, and I think this is pretty old data, but about 5 years ago, the average time somebody checked their phone per day is about 150 times. I'm sure it's probably 400 or 500 times now. So yeah, basically we can put your ad in any possible targeting situation that you want. So, yep.
So obviously a lot of the people that listen to my show are startups, because obviously it's about the journey of being in business. Mm-hmm. What tips would you give to a new person that is starting out in a new business?
Well, obviously the whole hub of any business in the world is having a good presence. It's basically your digital resume about your company. So a good solid website, a mobile-friendly website. Google rolled out, I'm sure you know, back in April 21st of 2015, called Mobilegeddon. And so what Mobilegeddon meant is, hey, we're giving you a heads up. This is Google talking. We're giving you a heads up that that your website better look good on my phone. If it doesn't, you get penalized for it. Yeah. And you still see it on your phone, but they don't like the pinching around, They don't like that kind of thing. So as long as you look at it and you don't have to do the pinching, then you're golden. And then you get you get rewarded for that experience. So that's one. And so it's a solid website that shows your brand, easy to navigate, loads quickly, and looks good on any device that they're looking at. So that's the number one thing, is make sure you have a solid foundation, which is your website. Yeah. The next step is, people just aren't going to come to your site. I mean, they will over time, but you need to advertise your site and get more unique people to it. And then find out, hey, I know these people come onto my site. Did they call me? And then I'm able to tell you that somebody called you when they found your website.
Okay.
And we do phone call tracking. The worst thing you can do is spend money on ads, and then you're not sure if it worked. And the guessing game, everyone does. They'll always do it, but we definitely minimize severely the guessing game if your ads worked because of our transparency.
Cool.
So I'm able to tell you who called. We have a tracking number that's installed that rings into your place, and able to tell you exactly who called, why they called, also why they called and why they didn't do business with you. And that's a really key part to your business.
Yeah.
We're talking about digital media and how to grow and improve your overall internet web presence, but also with our programs, and this is intentional, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
We're able to tell you how your staff is doing, how they're able to handle phone calls. Are they doing a good job? And it helps you not just from an ad perspective, but from an internal cultural perspective. I'm able to help people.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that. So Facebook ads.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to broach this subject because you said about the fact that people not knowing about whether their ads have worked or not. And I think that is a big thing with Facebook ads is people are spending loads and loads of money. I know someone that spent, I'm going to say, a crap load of money. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying how much because she wouldn't even tell me for definite how much it was. So I know it's a crap load of money on adverts. And I think she did it for about 2 or 3 weeks. So that's how it built up to be so much. She got 1 lead from it.
Wow.
And the problem is, I've looked at Facebook ads. I wait until they send me that, when you post that you've done naturally does really well and they go, here's some free credit for you.
Right.
So I wait until I get that purely because I'm not spending money on something I don't know if it's going to work. I'd rather do the freebies a couple of times, track it all and see if it's working or not, and then use that data for a paid ad later on. Mm-hmm. Why do you think Facebook, because I think Facebook have made their ads, the way of setting it up, to be quite daunting for a new business? Mm-hmm. Because you go on there and they've got all these different bits and pieces, and they say it's easy to set up, and it really doesn't seem that easy. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a way they could make it better, or do you think how it is great and people just aren't understanding the process?
Well, I think that a lot of folks don't understand the process, and you didn't start a business because you love marketing. Probably not, right? You started your business because you love to make pizzas, or you own a restaurant, or you love to help people improve their home because you're a home improvement, or you sell tires or whatever it is. So a lot of folks don't start their own business because they love marketing. That's where somebody like us comes in. So basically, we set everything up. You don't have to do anything. You obviously need approvals from you. Facebook, if you don't, and not just Facebook, if you don't set something up right, it's not going to work and you're going to have a bad experience. So you want experts to set it up for you. We hold your hands, and most good firms will hold your hand during the setup process. Yeah. Check the settings, make sure the demographics are right, make sure there's something called negative match settings, meaning I don't want this particular person because they don't fit my profile, meaning they don't make enough money, or they don't like what you're selling, so we're not going to show an ad to that person, right? It can be daunting if you try and do it on your own and you don't have the experience, that certain digital media firms have. But Facebook actually works really well if you set it up right, and if you have a tracking pixel, it's a pixel. Yeah. It takes some time to fix that. Also, a tracking number helps to see who actually called you. And I'm sorry. There's all kinds of settings that you got to make sure are properly, fulfilled. So, and if it doesn't work, it's usually because you didn't set up right.
Fab. See, I just wait for the freebies because I'm not going to waste money on something that I sit there and I think I have no clue what I'm doing to it.
I don't blame you one bit.
Instagram. I'm going through the social media bits, obviously, because they are good for marketing. They're good for promoting your business. Mm-hmm. Instagram for business. Yes or no?
I apologize. My phone's ringing here. What was your question? I apologize. Something about Instagram?
Instagram for business. Is it a yes or is it a no from you?
Well, it depends on your business vertical. So that's something that is a case-by-case basis. Yeah. So does it work for certain things? Absolutely. Does it not work? In my opinion, on certain things? Absolutely. So it depends on what you're trying to do and targeting. Yeah. What I will say, let's go back to Facebook a little bit. there has been numerous case studies out there that show if you do, just any kind of Facebook ads in conjunction with a Google Ads program, targeting the same areas, the lift increases like crazy from your ads part, your Google Ads part, because of the strong Facebook branding conjunction. So all these things work together.
Yeah.
All these things, if there's a healthy enough budget, you should try and do everything you possibly can, because they all feed off each other, and they're all part of the marketing mix. And certain parts make other parts work better. So, that's how I would answer that. It's a very customized program.
Yeah.
So is Instagram for everyone? Absolutely not.
See, this is the thing I found. When people start their own business up, it doesn't matter what business they've started. They think, oh, social media, and they go on every single social media site, regardless as to whether it's actually good for them or not. And then, so like Instagram, I find is good for fashion. It's good for me with my business magazine because I can post bits and pieces up there. It's even good for coaches because they can post a picture up and have all of this text at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But I see some people that have got businesses on there, and I'm like, I really don't think that this is your platform. And I feel really horrible. But you look at it and you think you've got X amount of followers because it's not the platform that you're using, the way you're posting. Because obviously some of the problems with people doing their own social media and not understanding the whole marketing side of things is the fact that they don't maybe word their ads correctly, or they use the wrong hashtags, because hashtags are becoming a massive thing.
Correct.
What are you thinking of the whole hashtag stuff?
Well, like you said, you have to set it up right and pick the ones that are searched the most.
Yeah.
And just tag it appropriately. Hit the right audience. If your message isn't resonating, you got to test things too. It's not just one ad copy. You got to test a bunch of different copies to see which one works better. And that's called, you can call it a bunch of different ways, but we call it a split test. So it's always about testing and what works the best.
So with all your customers, have you found that there are some on there that have literally blasted the hashtags? When you go on to someone's social media, and I find maximum of 10 hashtags is probably best. Even in my mind, it's overdoing it. But you get people that have got 50, 60 odd hashtags.
That's too much. Words. And I can't speak for everyone, but I agree with you. If it's too, sometimes with advertising, less is more.
Yeah.
So I think the less hashtags and just use the max you can use, which is, not what the max, but I'm thinking 10 or less, because nobody's going to read that. And then I think it kind of is distracting from your message if you have too many of them. So, and they're tagging it to make sure that they're indexed by Facebook and whatever else so that they can find them. But that's more of an ancillary reason for that. It's not necessarily, derived towards the message, in my belief. A little bit, but I do think that too many hashtags is a problem. And that's not for me.
And people have had maybe, I want to say 10, 11 words on their actual post of what they've typed in. And then there's been 100 odd hashtags on there. And I'm just that's way too much. I've just spent 15, 20 seconds scrolling past your post purely because of the hashtags.
Right. So it takes away from your efforts. It's I don't know, what's a good analogy? You're watching a movie. Well, no, I can't think of a good analogy, but you don't want to take away from your message.
No.
People are really easily distracted with media. So
yeah, it baffles me completely because I sit there and I'm like, hang on a second, no one can see your message.
No.
Because you've got so many hashtags.
It's like they're getting spammed with hashtags in the message, which is totally counterproductive.
I'm so glad I found someone that finally agrees with me.
Yeah, well, I'm not the smartest person in the shed, or smartest tool in the shed, sharpest tool in the shed, but I definitely read a lot, voracious reader, and I totally agree with you. It takes away from it, and that's a bad UX, I think. UX meaning user experience.
Yeah.
Too many hashtags.
Definitely. So I ask this question a lot. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Obviously, when you start a business or you go into a career choice, say, there's always a why around it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've been asked this question a lot, but
sometimes.
What is your why for doing what you do?
What is my why?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just love helping people grow their business and not waste their money on things that don't work. And you get a lot more, if you were to sign up with my firm, especially me and my firm, you sign up for X, but a lot of times you'll get X, Y, and Z, and then a little bit of A too, just because I want to make darn sure that you're happy. And, that's just how I operate. So the why, I love helping people grow their business. I love getting good reviews written about me. In fact, I've actually choked up a few times with my wife last week because I wanted to read some reviews that some of my clients wrote me, and I got all choked up. And that is why I do it.
Yeah.
That is why I do that.
Fantastic. So with your business, obviously, a lot of people have a home office and an actual away office away from their home. Do you get a chance to work from home and be with your family?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Work from home. And I just go see people in person.
Yeah.
And so wherever they are, I'll go see them. And sometimes they're just too busy because I'm making them too busy. They can't see me, which is always a good problem to have. So we'll just have a quick phone call or just a recap of how things are going and what we can make to make it work a little bit better.
That's fantastic. What is next for you and Thrive Hub?
Well, always evolving, always trying to, get the next best thing. There are a few things that we're working on. I can't divulge it, because of NDA, but we're always working on something new. And that's what I love. We're not just status quo and accepting what we're doing. Always trying to improve our model, how things are ran, and then the product offerings, what we can offer someone to help them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So the final question I'm going to ask you before I wrap this up is, obviously, we've spoken about the tips that you would give to people starting out. If you could say one thing to someone that was struggling in their business right now, what would you say to them?
Well, how are they struggling? What part of it?
Say they're overwhelmed with everything. They're a new starter. They're not sure what they're doing. They're at that point where they're just like, do you know what? I'm not getting anywhere with my business. I'm just going to give up and go and get a job.
Well, this isn't always the answer, but I'm going to go back to my marketing degree. And I would say still use some of those tips, those degree tips to this day. And, if somebody's struggling, I'm going to do a quick SWOT analysis, right? Yeah. What are your strengths? Got to know what your weaknesses are, your opportunities, and your threats. So the struggling part would be weaknesses and threats. I think weaknesses is first because I think it's really hard for folks, I mean, I'm included, to, what's the word I'm looking for? To be honest with themselves and then like a consultant like me or somebody like yourself on what their weaknesses are. Yeah. And all I would say to that is, hey, we need to see what's broken, find out what's broken so we can fix it and make you feel better. So sometimes it's best to start off with the strengths. We'll get to the weaknesses, which will bring them down a little bit, but I need to understand what's broken. Yeah. So, I hate it when I go to a doctor and they don't ask me enough questions where I have to continually ask them questions.
Yeah.
So, I like to consider myself a pseudo digital media doctor, meaning I'm going to do a, complete forensic analysis, do all kinds of tests on your business, to see what's broken, and then to come up with strategies to help fix the broken things.
That's fantastic. So you can find Scott on thrivehub.com.
Well, yeah, you can. That's our main website, but I do have my own microsite, and if you'll just give me a second, I can tell you what the link is.
Fantastic.
Bear with me here, because I just had it redone. One second here. So it's Scott, SCOTT, Davis, DAVIS, .ThriveHive site.com. And my email address is S as in Scott, so S Davis, DAVIS, @thrivehive.com. And so Thrive Hive is kind of a tough one. So it's like a thriving economy. So THRIVE, and then like Beehive, Hive, HIVE. So sdavis @thrivehive.com. So I'm very responsive to messages and just love helping anybody else I can.
Fantastic. So anyone that is struggling or needs help with their marketing and they're definitely having someone and help them go with their strengths and weaknesses, I think everyone needs someone like that in their corner.
Yeah.
Go and check out Scott. I'm really excited. I'm actually going to go and check out his website in a minute anyway. So thank you for joining me. Guys, you can find me on Facebook at Empowered VA or Empowered Magazine, or on Global Voice Radio and you can email me at empoweredvauk@gmail.com. Thank you, Scott, for joining me. I can't wait to have you on again maybe in the future so we can see what's been happening. And
thank you, Hannah, for having me. It was a pleasure, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. I always like talking to people that aren't in England. Obviously, I like talking to people in England, like before.
Well, I'm from Chicago, so we have like a nasally voice like Chicago. But I love New York folks, but their accent's so hard to understand. Like my team is from Boston, so they're like, "Park the car." I live in Toyd. And then, they add an R to everything too. So if the word ends in an A, it turns into an R somehow. So it's really funny. So we have a lot of fun.
I bet that's great trying to talk to me. See, Chicago is on my list of places to go. I've seen it online so many times. I've spoken to people.
Beautiful.
I watched the programs like Chicago PD and Chicago.
Oh, wow.
I just really want to go there. So it's on my list. I am saving up. I will be there soon.
Yeah, so we're about 9 miles west of downtown Chicago. So it's perfectly equidistant to everything. So we love it. We can take the train if we want, whatever it is. So it's fun. It's a fun city. Just don't come in the winter. Spring or summer is the best. Or spring, summer, or fall. Otherwise, it's nasty in the winter.
I will definitely avoid the winter.
Yes,
so thank you for joining me, Scott.
Thank you,
I'm going to end it here. Thanks, guys, and I will be back next week.
Take care.
Thank you for listening. Join Hannah Edwards and the roller coaster ride of business every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Global Voice Radio, where your voice is heard.